Hey guys, I've got some exciting news for you. We're going to be launching the Game Changer Summit 2021. And guess what? Speakers applications are now open. We have spaces for 3 lucky speakers to be able to apply and be positioned alongside 24 other world's leading industry experts in the world of leadership, entrepreneurship, marketing, branding, health. It's going to be absolutely epic. If you're a speaker, you're a consultant, you're a business owner, if you're a CEO and you want more exposure, more attention, you want to be positioned as a go-to expert, if you want to build on your personal brand, if you want to be paid your value and you want to have the best year ever, then apply today. Do not hesitate. So this is the link that you need, okay? Make sure that you got a pen and handy. It's bit.ly/GCS-speakers-application. Make sure that you apply today. We will be reviewing applications over the coming weeks, and for successful applicants, you will be contacted by me or my team shortly. So listen, good luck. Hope you enjoy the summit. If you're not successful, but listen, it's going to be absolutely epic. And make sure that you plug into the podcast and also onto the Game Changer Show and on social media for further updates. Take care. Have a fantastic day.
This is the Game Changers Experience. Deep dive conversations with leading business disruptors, Olympic athletes, celebrities, entrepreneurs, and influencers from around the world. This show will teach you insights about the winning principles in mindset, productivity, marketing, branding, entrepreneurship, business strategy, and more. Hosted by Productivity Authority, business strategist, former elite athlete, author, and public speaker, Adam Strong.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Game Changers Experience Power Up Thursdays episode with myself, Adam Strong. First of all, this is the first time that you've listened to our Power Up Thursdays. Congratulations. This year is a new year. It's the year of opportunity, guys. And what I'm going to be teaching you today, actually, is what I call the business strategies or the things that you need in 2021. So, as I've been saying on a lot of lives and even in our podcast as well, is that, as I mentioned to you, 2021 is the year of opportunity. And it's how you take those opportunities. Opportunities come left, right, and center, but it's being able to identify which ones are the ones that you should take forwards and move forwards. So what I'm going to do, actually, now there are a lot of things that I've learned in 2020 that you need for the new, what I call the digital revolution. You know, we're moving into this digital revolution now where, you know, a lot of us have got to reinvent our businesses. We've got to think differently. We've got to act differently. We've got to learn differently. And more importantly, we've got to show up differently. I suppose over the last year or so, I mean, I've interviewed hundreds of successful world leaders in their own right, of course, about the things and from my observation about what you guys really need in your businesses, or as an entrepreneur or a business owner, a CEO, what you need right now. Okay. Now, I've identified 10 things, okay, that you need right now. And then I'm going to break them down. Okay. And then I'm going to tell you about how you can go about actually implementing some of the stuff that I'm going to teach you. So what's the first one? The first one is you've got to be purposeful. What do I mean by purposeful? So everything that you do is with purpose. Your company needs to be built around a purpose. It needs to be built around the reasons why you're doing what you're doing, because that's where connection comes in. And so if you're coming from a place of purpose, okay, it means that you're actually solving people's problems, and you're really understanding what they're going through, their pain points, their problems. But it's really got to serve a purpose. It's got to be a higher calling as to doing what you're doing. I challenge you, you know, if you're a CEO or if you've got a lot of employees, it doesn't matter if you're running a 6-figure business or you're running a 9 or a 10-figure business. I always go back to this: is what is our purpose? Okay, what is the reasons why we exist today? What's the reasons why we exist? And if your staff, your team, yourself, if you don't know that, you need to really ask those questions. everything that you do has to come from a place of purpose, because otherwise there's going to be this connection challenge between you and who you want to connect with. And they're just going to not know what you stand for, essentially, at the end of the day. So that's the first thing. You've got to come from a place of purpose. All right. Secondly, and I talked about it just a second ago, is connection. Okay. What people demand now is they demand to feel connected. Okay. So, especially with the whole kind of COVID stuff, is that we're not really able to have one-to-one or even have conversations on a face-to-face basis, because what we wear is like serves as a barrier. When we are online, it also serves as a barrier. So we've now got to figure out, how is it that we can create deep connection with our audience? How is it that we can create deep connection and come from a place of understanding? Because if we can create deep connection, okay, and this is so important, then we can build upon the relationship. And relationships, over a period of time, it's interesting. So I was actually speaking to a good friend of mine today, and he was saying to me, Adam, do you know how many hours it takes for the average person when they meet someone for the first time to get them in, to sleep with you? And it takes apparently 7.5 hours. Now, interestingly enough, I don't want you to think that, I don't want you to think about that you're going to jump into bed with the nearest person or someone that you're chatting up with on Zoom or whoever, but the same principles apply. And if you want someone to do business with you, if you want someone to work with, or you've identified that would be a good suit, it takes time. You have to nurture the relationship over a set period of time. And, sometimes it may take 5 hours. Sometimes it might take 10 hours. Sometimes it may take, a number of years before they really kind of indulge and get an understanding of the connection about who you really are, as a person, and what do you stand for. So connection is so important, because we're all human beings. We live in the digital world now, where, it can be extremely lonely for people that, number one, might not be used to working alone, number one, and maybe even surrounding themselves with different associations. So we've got to create deep connection with our audience. So that's the second thing. The third thing, which I extremely think is so important, is visibility. So let's just face it, okay? There's a lot of things going out there right now. It can become extremely overwhelming with information overload. And I don't know if you kind of empathize with what I'm saying right now, but you've got to become visible. And when I say visible, what I mean is we've got to become visible and be able to stand out, essentially. So visibility is so important. So, for example, it's interesting. I was having a conversation. I've had numerous conversations actually last year, and one of the conversation is, Adam, how do you do it all? You're out there everywhere. You're on like all the social media channels. Every time I switch to a social media, you're there. I'm like, that's because I'm having fun. I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and I come from a place of purpose. But more importantly, I come from a place of value. My values is that I'd love to get out there. I'd love to add value to people and get my message out there in any way, shape, or form. So creating that visibility is extremely important. If you're not getting the desired results that you want, whether it be from a lead generation perspective, whether it be from connections or whatever it is, then you've got to become more visible. You've got to get yourself out there. And if you're not comfortable with something, then guess what? The best advice that I can offer to you is you've got to do something you've got to be used to getting comfortable at being uncomfortable, if that makes sense. Okay. And normally human beings don't really like doing something that they really don't enjoy doing, because they're generally not good at. Let me give an example. I used to do a lot of things in the sports performance and the fitness world. And I used to get my clients to do burpees, right? Now, when I mentioned the word burpees, they roll my eyes and I'm like, oh my God, I hate that, right? And the reason that they hate it is because they're not particularly good at it. They don't feel confident in it. They're not conditioned to do it. They don't think that they can do it. And so over the period of time, when you practice and you practice and you practice, and through repetition and training, they get good at it. And then they don't mind doing it because it's through habits and it's through routines. It's exactly the same visibility. If you want to get more results, you have to be consistent in what you do, consistent on a regular basis. So another example here is that we do the podcast show here twice a week. We have a great show on a Tuesday with an interview with a superstar. And on Thursdays, we generally do some sort of, we have Power Up Thursdays, which is a little bit like me talking to you. If you can imagine me speaking to you on your sofa, mentoring, coaching, and teaching you some new material or whatever it might be. So, but we're consistent in that, right? We're consistent in what we're doing, and we're not worried about the numbers. We're not worried about if we're going to lose a follower, or we're going to create negativity and things like that. We've got to create visibility. So we've got to be consistent in what we do over a set period of time, and, stick with it, guys, because, I'll give an example. It can take years before sometimes your content is seen out there, but the more that you put out there, the more visible you become, the more that people will be able to resonate with you. And they're like, I'd love to be connected with this person. All right. And, that's what it's about. Number 4, personal brand, and I said this to a client of mine the other day. I said, people don't buy your products. People don't buy your services. They buy you. Okay. And so, people buy people, okay? Because that's where trust and understanding comes in. Because if someone knows that if there's trust there, then they're going to buy regardless, right? So you've got to build that personal brand. Now, and again, this is such a huge subject, a huge topic, but in a synopsis, in a small chunk of it, a personal brand is something which you cannot touch. It's not tangible. It cannot be seen. Well, it can be seen, but it's not tangible, right? So a personal brand is, what are people saying about you when you're not in the room? Okay. How is it that you're making people feeling, right? What is it that you're invoking? What energy are you putting out there? And it's so important. Building your personal brand is so important so that they can connect to you as a person from an authentic, genuine perspective, right? That's what you've got to learn to do. You've got to build personal brand. Okay. And there are some great examples. Like another example is if you've got great social proof, social proof in terms of from a personal brand perspective. Okay. Have you got great results? Okay. Do you showcase those results? So, do you use LinkedIn as an example, right? To help leverage, your personal brand. Because if you can showcase your results and you can showcase that, then that's a great way to enhance your personal brand. It enhances your credibility. And again, when you've got credibility, you've got trust. Okay. So credibility equals trust equals results, essentially. That's what it's down to. Number 5 you've got to have is influence. Okay. Because if you have influence, you have power. Okay. And if you have influence, it means that people have already made the decision whether they're going to choose to work with you or with somebody else. And again, it doesn't matter if you're working with clients and customers, if you're offering a product or a service, you've got to have influence. And influence is also around positioning as well. How are you positioning yourself? How are you aligning yourself with other associations, right? And we talk this, we talk about this in our accelerator program, in terms of influence, okay? What exactly are you doing to position yourself as the go-to expert? Because if at the end of the day, whatever industry, whatever niche that you're in right now, okay, people buy, they buy the experts. Okay. Success comes of one of two ways, right? It's the what's crowded at the bottom is the people that are scraping, and they're the ones that are, always discounting themselves. But if you want to, you can come. So there are 2 types of markets right now. You've got the price market or you've got the value market. Now you can choose which one you want to play with, right? But I can tell you now, if you want to play in the price market, it's going to be extremely crowded. Okay. And there's loads of people trying to compete on price. Okay. But if you come from a place of value, okay, there's a lot less people on the top, because you're seen as an industry leader. You're seen as an expert. And so think of what experts are in your industry and in your niche. You know, you get paid more, you get positioned more, you attract better opportunities. You know, it's those types of things. You've got to use your influence to help, I wouldn't say persuade, but in a way it is persuade, because you're influencing their buying decisions on if they're actually going to invest in you and not somebody else. All right. So influence is extremely important. Okay. Number 6, marketing message. So we've got to get clear on our marketing message. And in terms of marketing message, as in like, it's got to be clear to, and it's got to have a language or an understanding that someone knows what you're talking about. Let me give an example. If you offer some sort of product or service, okay, and you have not created a message that doesn't resonate with your audience, they're not going to buy, because they're like, I just don't get it. I don't understand. So you've got to create clarity, not just for yourself, but you've got to create clarity for your audience too. So if you have clarity, then you're then able to create something which is a lot more simple, right? You're able to complete simplicity. And the more clearer that you have, the more direction that you have, the more and if you've got direction, that means your team knows exactly where you are going as well. So it's extremely important. Number 7, empathy. So important. You know, people are going through some tough times right now. Okay. You've got to kind of put yourself in their shoes. Where is it? You might be in a thriving business, or you might be similar to where they used to be. I want you to use the act of empathy, because it's extremely powerful to know how they're feeling. Because if you can show empathy towards somebody and put yourself in the shoes of that person, then again, that's where trust and understanding and connection is built. Okay. The more empathetic you are towards somebody, the more, over a period of time, and maybe they won't be your ideal client or customer or whatever it is, but the fact of the matter is that they will remember you for the right reasons. Okay. So you've got to show more empathy out there. Number 8, one of my favorite things that you need for business for 21 is energy and enthusiasm. So, you know, each and every single one of these sessions, and even if you know me on a personal level, or if you don't, okay, I come from a place of high energy, high frequencies. I'm extremely enthusiastic, and people love high energy. There's so much negativity. There's so much propaganda and so much bullshit out there that sometimes it can be all diluted, right? You know, if you switch over on the news, for example, all you're going to see is negativity. You're going to see, and people don't need that. You don't need that in your mind. People don't need that, right? There's just enough of that out there. What you need to do is you need to come from a place of high energy and enthusiasm, because enthusiasm and energy sells. All right. People want to be surrounding themselves with positivity. So what are you doing from your own perspective? How are you surrounding yourself with positivity and high energy? But as part of that, how are you showing high energy and enthusiasm? Because I can guarantee you're going to attract a slightly different tribe or community of people that's going to be attracted to you. So you've got to make sure that you go out with the right vibrations and the right energy. Number 9, be a great leader. You know, especially with everything that's going on right now, you've got to be a role model in your own right. And I don't care if you are running a large multi-billion-pound company, or if you're running a small company, you've got to be a role model and a leader in your own industry niche, and show that, you know, you've got to be there for people. Okay. Be a leader. All right. People love to be shown what to do. People love to be shown how you're going to make their lives easier. That's what people love. People love, I'm going to show you how to make your life easier. Okay. I'm going to show you how to get out of pain. Because if I show you how to do something, and again, it doesn't matter about money, people are going to buy that. Even if you're growing a business, okay, you need to show them leadership. They need to know which direction they need to be able to squash their own insecurities and their own limitations and being able to, I remember actually, I want to share a quick story. When I was working for McDonald's, which is really showing my age, by the way, it was one of my first, it was my real first pay-time job at the age of 16. I went into McDonald's because I didn't come from a particularly wealthy background, but I wanted to get well educated and go to college, go to university and that kind of stuff. But I needed to have a job to do that. And for me, I always stood on my own 2 feet. And, you know, from a very young age, I earned my own money, essentially, right? I earned my own wealth. And so when I went into McDonald's as a crew member, right? I don't know if you guys have ever worked for McDonald's, but a crew member. And over a period of time, over a really short period of time, I actually was promoted in such a short space of time because, you know, I was really eager to learn. I had a great attitude for learning. And I remember really looking up to a particular person, and his name was Mark Mayer. Okay. He kind of reminded me of the father that I never had. And I don't know if you've ever had one of those mentors or one of those role models that you looked up to, but Mark essentially was a great person to provide. He provided a lot of feedback to me, provided some of the things that I should and shouldn't do, how I could be a better leader, how I could show people how they can do things, you know, and he'd point out, you know, ways in which I can improve myself, more importantly, and how I could enhance the lives of others. And he was like in the business world was one of my very first mentors. Hey, you might even be listening to the podcast. You never know, right? But I'm extremely thankful for him and what I learned back then. And my question to you guys is, how are you becoming a leader for others? How are you showing up towards other people? Because we need strong leaders in the world today to show how we're going to move forwards, how we're going to work together, how we're going to get results. Because at the end of the day, we all want results. We all want success. We all deserve happiness. It's up to you on which choices you decide to make. But becoming a great leader and using role models and mentors, that's going to really help you. And the last one, which I think is probably one of the most important parts of 2021, is give without expectation. All right. I have no expectations of me when I create content and, you know, do these presentations, do these podcast interviews, do summits, whatever it might be. I have no expectations of others. Okay. And again, not everyone is going to be attracted to me. And guess what? I'm okay with that. But give without expectation. Add value to people's lives. Help others. Because if you help others, you come from a place of appreciation. They're going to appreciate you. They're going to know that you know what you stand for is not just monetary value. What you stand for is that you are a human being. You are adding contribution. You're giving contribution. You're giving your time, and you're sharing love and appreciation. So give without expectation. And this even ingrains into your own culture in your own companies. You know, give counsel, be there for somebody. Okay. Share with somebody. Okay. Offer advice and counsel, you know, from an unbiased perspective, but give without expectation. Okay. Yes, you can still ask. Okay. Because otherwise the answer will always be no, but give without expectation. Okay. So if we have expectations, then we become disappointed. All right. No one wants to become disappointed if we create these false expectations of ourselves and false expectations of others. So I hope that what I've shared with you guys has really kind of helped you get set up for 21. Because for me, I want you and each and every single one of you listeners that are listening right now to have the most successful year ever in business. All right. I really, really, really believe in you more than you believe in your own self, number one. But number two is I can only give you the tools. It's how you use those tools. It's how you essentially take what I'm teaching you guys and being able to implement what I'm teaching you. So on that note, believe it or not, depending on when you're listening to this, of course, we've got the Game Changer Summit 2021 coming up. I am so excited. Oh my God. Honestly, I am so excited. Depending on when you're listening to this, we've got the Game Changer Summit 2021 coming up. It is a bit like the David versus Goliath of all summits. I am so excited about it. I really am. And it's over a 3-day period, and it is in real time. It's interactive. It's going to be fun. It's high level. You're going to get access to some of the world's game-changing speakers in the world that specialize in entrepreneurship, branding, marketing, health. Oh my goodness me. We're going to be covering so many amazing topics. We're going to show you how to build a foundation for a bulletproof mindset. We're going to show you how to create a marketing message. We're going to show you how to build personal brand. We're going to show you about positioning, connection, and authenticity. We're going to show you how to monetize your business. We're going to show you how to create you're going to turn your purpose and passion into something which is bigger than you expected it to be. And we're going to show you how to use partnerships. And we're going to show you also the leadership skills that you need in order to grow your business. And it's going to be absolutely amazing. Depending on when you're actually listening to this, obviously, it's going to depend on plug and play. But if it is later than our advertising, do me a favor, click on the link below, okay, to get more information. The beauty about this is that it's completely free. It's over 3 days. I'm super excited. We're going to have thousands of entrepreneurs around the world. It's going to be a game changer. I can tell you that for sure. So, click on the URL on the link below. Depend on when you're listening to this, of course, okay, it's going to depend on whatever it is. But please, if the event has finished, please do me a favor, connect with me on social media, plug into our Facebook group, okay? Because I would love it I wouldn't love it for if you'd miss out on some of the big events that we're putting on for people. Because for me, like I said, 2021 is the year of opportunity. And it is within my power to help you guys to become successful in whatever you do, but to also help you reinvent yourself for the digital revolution, because we are here, ladies and gents, right? So listen, I hope you've enjoyed today. Really, really looking forward to connecting with you on a more deeper level. And we'll see you soon. Take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Hey, you guys, I just want to say thank you so much for listening in to this episode of the Game Changers Experience. I hope that you got some amazing value, some great insights, and golden nuggets that you can implement into your business straight away. I would really, really appreciate it if you could leave a 5-star review on the button below. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you on the next episode. Take care.